Earlier today, I did go see the new thriller from Steven Soderbergh, Unsane, a movie that not a lot of people went saw this past weekend, which is fucking sad, as I'll get into. Um, this was a movie that I got a preview for once. Like, I forget what movie I got in front of. And I was like, hey, that looks really fucking good. I like Steven Soderbergh. It's a psychological thriller directed by him. Hell yeah, I'm in for that. Up for that. And like, it's a movie that like it's kind of funny. Before I got a trailer for it, it did get like a few commercials here and there for it, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" Like, I wasn't really sure. I wasn't paying attention, but I kept seeing the word "unsane" pop up. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And then, like I said, finally got a trailer for it. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like I said, the advertising for this movie has like been bare minimum whatsoever. Like, I'm like, I don't know who the hell's in charge of advertising for like this movie, or like I know Bleecker Studios or something like that is the production company behind this. But I think they need to fire their advertising department because they barely fucking advertise any of their movies. Like between this, Logan Lucky, and like Megan Levy, like I don't see advertising whatsoever in their for their movies, like whatsoever. Barely. Like I said, it's pretty bad. But I said that might be one of the reasons why the movies are not making money. Maybe they need to start thinking about that. Like I said, it looked like a really good thriller, like psychological thriller that I was really curious as to if it was going to be as good as it looked. And yeah, I really fucking liked this movie. If I were to go right now, like from all the movies I've seen this year, this is my favorite movie of the year so far. I really fucking like this movie. It's a really pretty goddamn intense thriller, man. And it's pretty fucked up too. It's some pretty fucked up territory. If you don't know the story, it's for people that don't know what the movie's about. It's about this girl played by Claire Foy who she has a stalker that she met for work, and she had to put a restraining order on him, and because of that she has to move to another town like 200 miles away from her family and her friends. So she's like living in this city all by herself, or nobody knowing, or her knowing nobody in this strange town that she's never lived in. And she keeps imagining she's seeing like her stalker everywhere. And so she ends up going to like try to find a support group to help her with this stress that's going on through like her thinking that her stalker is everywhere. And they end up putting her in a mental institution involuntarily because they think she's going to commit suicide or do harm to others. And while she's there, she starts to think that one of the orderlies is her stalker. And it's like one of those, like, is she crazy or isn't she crazy? Is what's going on really going on? What's going on? Like, it's one of those movies. And Claire Foy is fucking great in this movie. I don't know. I've never seen her in anything before. I know it. I was like, I can't remember what I've seen her in. I think I've seen her in something before, but like I can't name anything off the top of my head. But she's like an actress I recognize. But I can't like. It's one of those actresses. Like I know I've seen her before, but what is it that I've seen her in before? I didn't look up on Google or anything. I forgot to do that before I got it. But she's really good because, like, the first half of this movie, you're like, the first time you meet her, you're like, this bitch is crazy. Like, you're full blown, like, I was under the assumption, like, okay, this is all going on in her head because this bitch is crazy. You can tell, like, something's not mentally right with her. Like, she's a few fries short of a Happy Meal, to pardon the phrase. And she just seems like something's awful for her. But you also could like, well, it could be just because of her having PTSD from this experience with her stalker. And I'm like, but yeah, at the same time, she can be really fucking crazy. But then as the movie gets along, you're starting to question whether she is or isn't crazy, because it's starting to look more and more believable that she's really she's saying what she's saying is fucking true. Like, and it's like, it gets to a certain point, or like, there's no way this is all in her head. Like, like, it gets to a certain point in this movie, and you're like, man, you kind of feel bad for this character. You want to see her get out of this situation, halfway through the movie. Like, it turns from you thinking she's crazy to, God damn it, I hope this girl gets out of this fucking horrible situation. Like I said, she's really good in this fucking movie. Like, she's was carried this movie a lot. Jay Pharoah from SNL fame is in this as a fellow mental patient in the hospital, and he's really good as like this guy who's basically her hookup. He sneaks his cell phone into the hospital with him, and like, he lets her use his cell phone. He's also really helpful in telling her, just keep your head down, and they can only keep you in for 7 days through involuntary means, and like, if you just keep your head down for these 7 days, you'll be okay and you'll get out. He's like really helpful, like this really helpful guy. And like I said, it's kind of nice seeing like Jay Pharoah in something like this, like a really serious role. I know he has comedic moments in this movie. He's more of a serious character. There's like a big revelation towards the end about his character, which was kind of interesting, but it involves like this theory that he has that like the mental institution is taking like in like these really sane people and making them think they're insane so that they get profit off of insurance companies. Like insurance companies gonna be paying them. It's really fucking crazy. And then I don't know if I'm the only one, but like, somebody in the comments can tell me if I'm the only one who thought this. That the guy who plays her stalker, quote unquote stalker, then am I the only one who thought he looked like fucking Will Forte with a big giant beard? Will Forte of like MacGruber and SNL fame. I was like, dude, is that Will Forte? No, it wasn't. I'm like, that'd be really fucking cool to see him like something different if that was Will Forte, but it wasn't. But that guy was pretty fucking creepy. Like, throughout that movie, he was pretty fucking creepy. Really good and fucking creepy. It goes into some fucking weird ass fucking territory towards the end of this movie. I'll give this movie credit because I was worried going in, like, and for most of this movie, I kept thinking, oh god, it's gonna be one of those movies that's really good, a really good thriller all the way through, and then it's gonna have a shitty fucking ending. Like, it's gonna have like a twist that's gotcha twist that's gonna be really fucking shitty, and it's gonna ruin the rest of the movie. And it was reminding me of a movie. I was thinking in my head, like, oh god, it's gonna be like that movie High Tension. If you've never seen it, it's a movie that's has a really fucking good horror movie, a really violent horror movie that was really, really good until it had one of the dumbest twists in film history. It's always, when it comes to like film twists that are really fucking dumb, it's always on a list, on any list that involve dumb twists in horror films. I was thinking that was what was going to happen with this movie. I was like, oh man, this movie's getting good reviews, so I'm like, maybe it's not going to do that. But I was like kind of hesitant. Like, I'm like, it's going to end up being like, somehow it's going to end up being that it's all in her head. And I swear if it does, it will not make one fucking bit of sense. I was like, how are they going to, there'll be so many plot holes, but no, it's a straightforward thriller. It ends up being a straightforward thriller. Really, that doesn't have much of a twist that like a gotcha twist. It's just a disturbing kind of straightforward thriller, and I like that. I was like, cool. It seems like getting spoiler territory, but it isn't. I'm trying not to, but it might be or might not be for some people. That's up to you. like I said, I really dug that they didn't go for, like, as like also at the same time it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, a guy who really doesn't go for those kinds of things with his movies. Like you could tell this is a Steven Soderbergh movie while watching the first opening scenes. Is like, yeah, this is shot like a Steven Soderbergh movie. Definitely, this feels like a Steven Soderbergh movie more than like Logan Lucky did. Yeah, man, it's like he's definitely back to making a style of film that he always does, which is not a bad thing. Like I said, I like Steven Soderbergh as a director. He's a really talented guy. Like he like turns out like 5 movies a year, and like half of them are good and half of them are okay. But this is one of the better ones. Oh yeah, fucking Matt Damon makes a cameo in this movie. Why? I have no idea. Like, what is up with Matt Damon making cameos in movies like out of nowhere? Like between this and Eurotrip, and Eurotrip is my favorite cameo of his, and Interstellar. It's like I'm trying to think of another one, but it's like those are the 3 I always remember. The 2 I always remember. That were just like, what the hell? He's the guy that helps her relocate after she puts the restraining order on the stalker, and through a flashback, he is just there. He's Matt Damon as the guy's relocating her. You're like, it's like a very short 1-minute scene. You're like, that'd be the easiest paycheck of Matt Damon's life. Like literally, like he just shot that probably within a fucking 12 hours and said bye and just left the set. I was like, that was kind of funny. Like, what is up with Matt Damon like making weird ass cameos out? Like, you could have been anybody. It just was Matt Damon in there. Like, that was weird. Yeah. But I like I said, I like this movie. I really highly recommend it. Not a lot of people saw this movie. I saw this movie in a theater by myself. Which was kind of fun because I was like, what? Throughout the movie, I was like, what the hell is going on in this movie? There was many times where I was thinking that. So it's like, man, this movie's fucking great. I also really dug this movie really had no end credits. Like, this movie is like an hour and 38 minutes, and literally that's the whole length of the movie is an hour and 38 minutes. They briefly show credits at the end of it, and that's it. Like, bam! It's maybe 1 second or 30 seconds of credits, and that's about it. Maybe 50, well, maybe a minute of credits, and that's about it. But that's like, man, it's the first time I've seen a movie in a long time that like the runtime is pretty much the whole length of the movie. So that's pretty cool. I think Soderbergh's done that before. Anybody in comments can tell me. I'm pretty certain he's done that before. Also, the movie, I liked how the movie is kind of ambiguous as to, like, maybe she is crazy after all. I did like that. I was like, that was an ending that could be interpreted a lot. It was an interesting ending, I'll say that. Yeah, like I said, I highly recommend the movie. Trailers. I got a lot of new trailers. All of them look good. Honestly, all of these fucking trailers look great. And movies I'm actually looking forward to. Sure, half of them I won't get. Beirut. It's John Hamm, which one that I'm sold by just saying John Hamm's in it. This actually wasn't the only trailer that had John Hamm in it. I'll talk about it in a second. Beirut is this movie about John Hamm is a negotiator that lives in Beirut, who has to negotiate a colleague of his from the U.S. Embassy, I think like that gets kidnapped by this terrorist group in Beirut, who also killed John Hamm's family, and they want an exchange for his colleague, like the leader of their group that's missing or something like that. It looks really good and really intense. I was like, hell yeah, it looks actually really good. I think it's one of the writers of the Bourne movies. I think Tony Gilroy's name popped up, but I don't think he's directing it. Tony Gilroy is the guy who made Nightcrawler, which is fucking great. Yeah, it looked bad. It looked pretty good. Another one was Disobedience. This is a movie. Oh man, this looks hot as hell. I said it's a movie about like Rachel Weisz. Weisz is a girl who's shunned from this community that's like secluded off, like I think it's a Great Britain or somewhere like that, from the rest of the world. It's like really ultra religious. It's like a Hebrew community, and because she had interest in another girl in their community, and she goes back when her dad dies to this community, and they let her come back, but she's also meets her love interest again, who's played by Rachel McAdams. And it's like there's a lot of making out between Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams. It's like, yeah, buddy. I was like, that's gonna be a lesbian movie. Yeah, buddy. There's some two good looking girls. I was like, hell yeah. I was like, the perv in me was thinking that the whole time. It's like, yeah, buddy. I was like, I'm fine with this movie. It looked good though. Like I've seen like most of these movies are getting well received. Like they've been getting reviews already, and it's been really well received. This one too looks like something I probably would get like a maybe Oscar talk next year. Like some of these movies actually did look like they are like movies that probably going to try to run for Oscars next year. Can You Ever Forgive Me? This looks really good. This is a story about it's Melissa McCarthy in a serious role, which is cool. Like I said, I like Melissa McCarthy. She's not a bad actress, and like this shows that she's gonna probably try to like get Oscar nominations. So she plays this author based off a real story about this author who was not selling at all, like any of her books. So she decided to forge like fake letters that were supposedly written by like legendary literary artists and stuff like that. And she got caught by it. And it's a really cool story. Like she was considered a fraud, and like she's always known as a fraud. That's like that looks kind of like a good movie. I forget what the girl's name was. Anybody can tell me in the comments. I was looking it up. It's like that kind of sounds like it could be a cool story. Yeah, but that looks really good. It looks like, Melissa McCarthy trying to become a serious actress, which I'm all for. She's not a bad actress. This was a weird movie to like put in the middle of this, but that trailer for that new film comedy Tag, which looks fucking hilarious. This looks like one of the funniest. It could be one of the funniest films of the year. Like seriously, this year's gonna be a great year in comedy. Like Blockers is still gotta come out. This is gonna come out. The Game Night was pretty good. Yeah, this is a movie about a group of friends. Apparently, this is based off a true story. I looked it up. It is based off a true. It claims in the trailer it's based off a true story. No, we're not kidding. That's what it says. And it's about this group of grown-ass men who ever since childhood are embroiled in this intense game of tag, and they keep tagging each other the most inappropriate times when one's witnessing the birth of their kid and shit like that. It looks hilarious. It's weird. It's got John Hamm, Ed Helms, Hannibal Buress, Jeremy Renner. I forgot who the other guy was, but it looks fucking hilarious. It looks really funny. Jeremy Renner is the friend who never has been tagged before, and they are hell-bent on tagging this son of a bitch. It's the stupidest concept I've ever heard for a movie, but it sounds great. It looks great, and delivery, it looks great. I hope it's as good as the trailers make it out to be, because it looks like a really fucking funny movie. And then you got one of the weirdest fucking trailers of the year that played right before the movie started, Hereditary. What the hell was that? Look this trailer up. This is a movie, new horror movie from one of the producers of The Witch, which was a weird fucking movie in its in of itself. If you've never seen The Witch, watch that shit. But if it's anything like The Witch, holy shit. It's a movie about, it's what I got for the trailer. It's about, who is it? Goddamn, what's the girl actress's name? Toni Collette. There you go. Toni Collette is this woman whose mom just dies, and there's something sinister about her mom's past that's being passed down to her family and her kids and shit like that. I think it might be witchcraft. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna guess because it's from the producer, The Witch. Maybe, I don't know. It looked fucking creepy. That trailer was creepy as shit. I was like, that looked really good. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on in that trailer, but I kind of want to see that movie. Yeah, I was like, that was an effective trailer. Yeah, it was like, those are some, like, after I was like, damn, those are some good trailers I just got in front of this movie. And then I saw a pretty good movie after that. So yeah, I highly recommend, as far as trailers, and I highly recommend Unsane. People go see that and support it. I'll be back here in the next few days. I also gotta go see Pacific Rim Uprising and Ready Player One. And until then, I'll talk to you guys later.